Hello everybody, my name is Rita the Shadow. Today's topic is about the typing people again. In particularly, how do we actually utilizing the master cheat sheet to help you to type people in practice. So firstly, I just wanted to point out several important elements on the table. So the type table itself is number 0, and this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3, and this is number 4. So there are 5 major elements on the typing table. And so for the first one, or number 0, I guess it's to have this in your mind. And but you're gonna say, hey Rita, I can't remember all this, but the good news is you don't have to, because there's a rule to this table. So for example, A is SJ, and B is SP, and C is NT, and D is NF. So automatically, if you don't have to memorize each one of these, you just need to know which column they belong to, and you immediately know two out of 4 letters. So for A and B, you know number 2 and number 4, and for C and D, you know the middle 2, NT or NF. And so that's the vertical part. And for horizontal, what you have to know is this one is extrovert, these two, number 1 and 2 extrovert, number 3 and 4 introvert. So see, so already you know 3 out of 4 letters, and for the last letter you just have to so again, it's look at them from this way. So A and B have the rule of alternating the third letter. So the third letter is either T or F. So T, F, T, F, like that. T, F, T, F. And 3 and 4 is alternating the last letter between J and P. So J or P. First J, then P. First J, then P. So if you are number 1 and 3, you have J, and number 2 and 4 is P. And similarly, if you number 1 and 3 is T, number 2 and 4 is F. So that is the type table. And after you have this in your mind, then when you see someone, then you try to type them using the expression and worldview matrix, or the stressing versus talking matrix. So you are looking at their when they talk, are they talking about process more or progress more? So process, also known as outcome. So are they more focused on actually producing what is the end result? If they are only focusing on the end result and having a high demand on the quality, so this is more about the quality and quality assurance also, So because they wanted to make sure they are doing it right the first time. So they may be taking their time to do something, but once they do it and they're finished. So this is more like the turtle, and this is more like the hare. So for progress people, it's more about moving, like going somewhere. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they are producing any outcome. As long as they are on the move, they are happy. So for the starter, they have a problem of starting something very quickly, but not able to see it all the way through to the end. They flake out, they flake. Oh, is that how you spell? I don't know. That's flank, isn't it? Anyway, they flake out. And for finisher type, they are the opposite. They have trouble starting, but they can finish something. Usually, once they started it, they are very, focusing on the results, or have an idea how to get to the result. So they are like seeing the outline of, seeing the milestones of reaching the target, and foresee the future outcome. Foresee the future outcome. But yeah, so if they studied properly and nothing got in the way that put them off, then usually they can see all the way through to the end. So that's progress versus process. And this one, direct versus inform. So for these two types, they are talking very directly, obviously, and they are trying to be very precise in what they speak. So, or if there are any confusion, they point out to the other party. Instead of assuming, so maybe they will be like, what did you mean by this? If there is any doubt. For inform, they talk usually in a lot more words, like include all the information, all the context, all the subtext as possible. And sometimes so instead of asking a question, they kind of suggest a question, or or just telling you this is what they think, but without any particular direction where they are going with this, and you kind of have to figure out by yourself. So if you see two informed people talk, you will see a lot of subtext, very indirect, a lot of information, but somehow they know what each other is talking about because they are good at reading the subtext also. But for direct people, maybe they have trouble with this. So if you have direct and informed talking, then direct people will be often asking for clarification. So if you're seeing a lot of what did you mean by this? What did you mean by this? Then it's very possible one is direct, one is informed. So this is vector 1, vector 2, and vector 3 is this way. So initiating and responding, right? So initiating basically is like the person who is starting the conversation with someone. So all of this is like in general terms. So of course sometimes even response type need to initiate sometimes, but once the conversation started, they will be mostly in response mode, and initiating is not something they prefer to do. So if they have any choice, they would prefer to be in the responding side. So initiating is different from direct. You have to understand this. Even though they can sometimes overlap, like in the case of structure, if you are initiating and you are direct, then most likely you are a structure type. But if you are responding and you are direct, then you are responding and you are direct, then you are a finisher type. Or if you are responding and you are informed, then you are the background type. Or if you are initiating and you are informing, you are the starter type. So there are 3 different vectors for you to choose from. And also initiating is usually the extrovert and responding is usually the introvert. So if you can clearly see like they are introvert or extrovert, then it could be an indication they are initiating or responding. But you have to be aware of the fact that the cognitive transition, right? Because even if they are an extrovert, they can be just in an introvert state with you because they are not in a good mood, or because of the context in your talking, like maybe you are the boss or something like that. Then of course they will be responding to your questions instead of initiating. So this is like you have to look at the general situation and see if you can identify a pattern, which one is the most likely. So that's why you have 3 different vectors for you to cross-examine and see which one of them are they. So if you find out, then you have determined, then you have identified their interaction style or expression. So that is the y-axis. So then you are either one of those. So immediately you can, if you know for sure they are this one, then you only have to look at this part and vice versa. And next one is the saying versus doing matrix, which is the worldview, and that is the x-axis. So if you know the y-axis and you know the x-axis, and that is the only one solution, right? There can be only one choice. There's no mixing up, then there's no mistake, because it is using the divide and conquer approach. And the next one is the saying versus doing. So same thing, you're looking at, are they abstract or concrete or abstract, and they are pragmatic or affiliative, and then they are systematic and interest. So concrete versus abstract is fairly straightforward. Pragmatic versus affiliative is also very straightforward. Pragmatic is doing on what works, and affiliative is doing on what's right, and more people focused, and this is more things focused. So yeah. And systematic versus interest. So this one is a bit harder to identify, but systematic is where they are always thinking in terms of system, what are the systems? So the cultures, the rules of society, the rules of engagement, the protocols, the social expectations. Those are the systematic. What you should do during a job interview. And interest is like what are your personal interests, like what do you like, and also what do you get out of it, or what does the other person get out of it, and what are their agendas, what are their goals, what is the purpose of this discussion. So those are the interests. So that is point number 1. So point with 0 and 1, you can kind of find out their type, but sometimes, because people are complicated, we are all a little bit of everything. So even if you know in theory, you're gonna have trouble know for sure, because as before mentioned, depend on the context, everything can be changed. And also depend on your nurture. So maybe you are doing a certain way, but it is what you are trained to do, but it's not what you prefer to do, if you know what I mean. So that's why there can be some confusion with these ones. And so yeah, so that's why there's a third 1 0 0 1 2. So that is why there's a point number 2. So that is the houses. So this is also quite interesting, because not only because of how they related to the Harry Potter houses, but also, it's another vector for you to not only find out their cognitive functions, or using the cognitive function, I find out your type. For example, if you know for sure you are TIFE people, like you are more focused on the truth, or you are more you tend to people please more. So that means you may be TIFE focused, or not only truth, also logic is also TI. And if you are very focused when you are working, or if you have a clear idea of what you want to do in the future, it's all about, what I want, where am I going. So I want what you have. I see what you are doing, and I want to do the same thing, as C.S. Joseph said. So these people are more driven or goal-oriented, or they like to give experiences to somebody, more, especially the extroverts, more outgoing, and more you like to give other people an experience or performance. So yeah, and extroverted intuition is NE, and these people are more focused on, what are the possibilities, what are the other people doing, the metaphysical, the abstract. So these two are abstract, these two are more concrete. And so yeah, and seeing the big picture, for example. And this one is more about, having a good tradition or following the rules, doing what you should do. That is maybe that is one of the big difference you can use to tell. This one is what you should do, and this one is more like what you want to do. So for these kind of people, they are more disciplined usually, unless they are in their shadow, of course. So they like to have experience. They like to be on the receiving end of experience, and or going out and seek new experiences. So yeah. So then, if you can kind of see which area they focus on more, then you can kind of find out where they are on this matrix here also. So, and lastly, you have the T and FI. So T is about, what other people think, how other people see me, what is the how they are recognizing, how they are seeing me as, and how do I feel about that, what they see and how I feel. So yeah. So that's why this is recognition, and this is the truth, and this is faith, and this is willpower. Okay, so yeah. And then so you can also see, which one of these, maybe this kind of symbolisms, what kind of characteristic do they embody, Do they care about freedom the most, or are they care about, being forgiving to others, or are they care about being fair, or what do they care about knowledge the most, or looking at their flaws, are they a bit shallow, are they arrogant, are they judgmental, do they think they are right but not really, or do you feel, are they a little bit entitled, like thinking they are special and deserve special treatment? So yeah. So every type in the philosopher are affiliative, and every type in the wayfarer are pragmatic. So that is linking back to this part. So are they pragmatic or affiliative? So this is also very important to find out, because if you know, if you know they are one of these, then you can, if you know they are one of these, then you can eliminate the other one, probably. Yeah, because if you know they have affiliative, there's no way they can be also pragmatic at the same time. I mean, everybody is a little bit of everything, but which one is the majority? Which one is the preference? So yeah. And this is just for fun. I'm not 100% certain about this theory yet, but I think it looks correct to me. But I wouldn't use it as a 100% thing and say, if you are this one, then you are definitely this one. But I guess you can say, there's a kind of relationship, because if you identify with this house more, there's a chance that you care about this more, and therefore, so if you care about this and this, and you like this house, you already tick 3 boxes, then there's a high chance you are this one. See what I mean? So if you like this house and you are direct and interest, and you also have this characteristic, or you are a bit arrogant, or someone else is this, then there's a high chance they are this house. So same thing here. If you are informative and systematic, and you think they are kind of this house, and they care about being fair, there's a chance they are crusaders. And if they are a bit, like this house, and they care about knowledge, and they are also affiliative, there's a chance they are philosophers. So yeah. I think I beat that horse a little bit, but anyway, so now we come to number 3. So this is a special concept that developed by C.S. Joseph and the Ego Hacker community. So yeah. So this is about the temples, and I don't know how to explain this properly actually, but so for every soul, for every human, there's a origin of some kind, and they call that their temple origin, and in particularly there are 4 different major temples, and each one of these ones, of all 16 types, they belong to these 4 temples. So where do each one belong to? So because it's hard to write it down, but I use the things to link to the to each one of the temples. So for example, so if you are the soul temple origin, it means that you are someone whose purpose, the temple is like more caring about the original, what is your original purpose the most, is about the characters. So, and within the soul temple, you have the lust and rest, that daily things. So the rest is this one, and lust is here. So that means in the soul temple you have ISTJ and ENFP, and ESTP and INFJ, and so each one of these, so this one and this one, they are in the 4 sides of mind together. So that's why they are all in a soul temple. And so if you are someone who focuses on the character a lot, there's a high chance you are in a soul temple, so you are one of these 4 types. And you can cross-examine using any of the tools you mentioned before and eliminate the other choices. So for example, if you have already narrowed it down, they may be what example can I give? So So if you just know that they are an idealist and they are an introvert, but you don't know if they are INFJ or an INFP, then you can check the tempos. Are they more focused on someone's character, or do they care about the knowledge more? So are they soul tempo or mind tempo? So if they are mind tempo, then because mind tempo is pride and sloth, so pride and sloth. So if they are mind tempo, then it means they are INFP, or if they are soul tempo, it means they are INFJ. That's how you use this to assist finding their type. So this is like the additional vector. But if you already know their type, for example, you already know they are INFJ, then you can do it in reverse. So because you know they are INFJ, it means they have lost aestheticism, and then you look up backwards and then you find out, oh, so they care about someone's character the most. They have a soul tempo, and they have the lost aestheticism and also rest, because the shadow of INFJ is ENFP, and ENFP have ENFP have rest aestheticism, so that's why they have loss and rest as their major character flaws, for example. And they can, so maybe, so because they are a Templar type also, right? Because INFJ is a Templar. So because they are a Templar, and then you can do it reverse. So they are also very forgiving, and they are direct and interest-based. So so then when they ask you a question, maybe they are just being direct, and they are not trying to be mean, for example, and they want to know what is your agenda when you talk with them. Like, so maybe you wanted to tell them, what is it you want, and then so you don't have to waste time answering their questions, and you just tell them directly. You inform them what are your interests, so before they ask the question, right? And then maybe sometimes they can be a little bit arrogant. That's just they're just the character flaw, and you can call them out on it to keep them in check, and then they will be, if they are mature, they will be grateful to you. Yeah, you are right, I was being stupid. So yeah. And then they are also, maybe they also like Gryffindor more. Sorry, just if you hear something, just my household members talking in the other room, so don't worry about it. And so yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, so if you, or on the other hand, if you know their house, then you can also know their cognitive functions, right? And yeah. So everything we have talked about here, goes both ways. You can either go this way to this and this, or you can do it in reverse. You find out, So yeah, there's no like particular order to this. It's all about, you know, being vigilant and mindful in the conversation so that you can find out what is their type. And it's better if you take in a lot of data so that you can make sure to have, and always you trust what they say, but you always verify it, because sometimes we are not as self-aware as we think. And so, but if you can, you know, ask them particular questions, maybe from their explanation you can have more insight into what is the preference. So this is all about, you know, finding the patterns or the preference. It's like a holistic pattern. It's not a 100% thing. So yeah. What else do I want to talk about? So, oh yeah. So if you think you have an hypothesis, you know, please also consider, you know, if this one and this one is on the same, they are a triad pair, and so if you think there might be this one, they might be also this one also. So consider both possibilities and look into each one, you know, and compare with other information, you know, because yeah, these two are in the same tempo, but this one is here and this one is here. So if they are a finisher, then they can be only ISTJ, or if they are a starter type and they tend to not finish what they started, there's a higher chance they are in ENFP, something like that. So lastly, we can talk about the actigram. So I can't tell you a lot about this, but at least what I'm allowed to say is already online in public, because this one yeah. So anyway, so this one is from season 34 of C.S. Joseph's channel, and as we said before, there's a cognitive origin or your origin tempo, and so from your original tempo you can have different developmental influence, or you have a current focus. So for example, you know, if you I recognize this as the influence of the environment. So I'm not 100% about this yet, but my hypothesis is this one is the influence of the environment on you. So this your so you have your four sides of mind, right? So if you are an INFJ, you have ENFP shadow and ESTP and ISTJ. So if you are shadow development influence, it means that in your environment tend to make you more like an ESFP. Means that you identify some of the things that appeared in the ESFP description. For example, they are a starter type, and they are very, all about what I want to do, and very imaginative. Not able to finish something they started. So that could be the effect of your shadow development influence. So that means while you are an INFJ, you inhibit the quality of ESFP more than how you would usually. So if you, that's what this means. So if you are, you have your four sides of mind, right? So if you are unconscious development influenced, and you are also unconscious focused, it means maybe you are really like an ENFP most of the time. Or if you are unconscious development and subconscious influenced, then you are here, right? Ego tempo, so it puts you over here. So that means that you will be more like an stereotypical INFJ. And so these two is the same logic. So if you are subconscious development and subconscious focused, you will be more like an ESTP despite being an INFJ deep down. So so once you find out your type, this is like an additional tool you can use to explain some of the characters you exhibit, even though it's not present in your ego. Or you can also use it to narrow it down, I guess. So if you know, for example, if you really identify with this, except being an extrovert, everything you do is similar to this type, except the extrovert part. Like you really don't talk to. You get exhausted in group situation. Becomes very quiet, or if you are mostly a responding type, so you are not really this one, but everything else is like this, then there's a high chance you are SDSF, so subconscious development, right? Or if you are very organized and very particular about the details, very meticulous, then maybe you are subconscious development and unconscious focused. So it puts you into the ISFJ superego. That's why it's the superego tempo. So ISTJ. I mean, ISTJ is here, by the way, and that's ESTP. So ISTJ is also has rest deadly thing, and I won't go into what this one particularly means yet, but just know that this one is important, this one is important, and this one is important. I think I covered everything I wanted to for now, and so So thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.